What's up, everybody? Brett here, back today playing some more Tower Dominion. Super stoked to be playing some more of this game. We, in the last episode, tried some endless mode, and we lost, but I don't think it was necessarily because of the endless mode. I think sometimes you just get a rough draw or make some weird plays, and the game just crumbles to crap. But I've had some pretty cool off-camera successes. I was playing this game with my son the other day, and we were knocking out some of these characters. You can see here I've got another level 4 difficulty win with Sergeant Gertag, who we were able to make his headquarters like an impenetrable fortress, which is super fun. It's a crazy fun way to play the game. Maybe we'll go back to this at some point, and I'll try to show you guys that kind of gameplay. But for today, I wanted to play as the Techno Adept Jorg, who starts with an experimental pulse cannon, which is different from the normal pulse cannons. And he has this mechanic where he builds plasma fences. And I thought we'd maybe go with a level 3 difficulty today. See if we can knock that out, get that done. Interesting little start here. So generally, something that's good to do if you want to make it into the super late game is to try and direct every single path in one direction. That way you can nuke one direction very easily, right? In absence of being able to do that, like this is already starting to look maybe a little tough. It would take forever to wrap this around, and I don't even know if that's feasible. So what we want to do instead is kind of play into, this is going to be a 2 direction, or what would you call it here? Two entry points in this side, and then we're going to do 1 in this side. And just extend this straight out, make it nice and simple. And then this one will make our boxes in defensive positions. So here, we start off, like I said, with the experimental pulse emitter. This is a pretty good spot for it. This isn't a pretty good, okay spot for it. Tempted to put it here early on just because it gives me a ton of coverage. And I'm going to explain all the mechanics for it in just a minute here. Yeah, I think we go ahead and, man, where do we... So I'm already planning around its kind of eventual usefulness, right? If I put it here, it gives me a little bit of value on this lane, but if later in the game the enemies are making it all the way to here, we're not doing that great, right? If I put it way over here, it's going to have value in this huge area pretty much for the entirety of the game. And I also like that it's a slightly raised position as opposed to this one. Give us a little bit more range. So I'm going to stick this here, and I'm going to show you guys, it doesn't do a ton of damage early on. That's not its thing. It doesn't do a ton of damage, and it shoots super slow. But that's where its upgrades and its whole mechanic comes in, right? It's also very good against shields, and in the early game there aren't that many shields. So it gets better later. So the whole point is every single wave we get an autonomous excavator, right? Or whatever they're called, a charge system. But with this upgrade, the autonomous excavators, they'll cost 0 instead of costing some, small amount. It might even be 50 supply, 25 supply, something like that. Getting them for free, I think, is the move, as opposed to making it so that adjacent buildings gain 20% damage. This is very strong. If you place this in a nice central location, you can build, I think up to 8 buildings around it, and they'll all have 20% bonus damage. That's great. This path that we're going to take here, and we're going to go ahead and upgrade that now. I'm going to show you guys these upgrades because they're very relevant. You have to understand kind of the totality of how this particular mechanic works, or else all my future decisions don't really make a ton of sense. So the collective experiment, buildings adjacent to at least 1 charge system gain 25% rate of fire. So we're going to get those charge systems every turn. We could just put one of them next to every single tower, and they will all gain 25% rate of fire, which is huge. Or we put them all next to each other, the charge systems that is, and the more of them that are next to each other, and we'll see this next turn, the faster this shoots. So we're going to do an interesting kind of mix of those. We can spend 250 to get 1 tech. I don't see that as particularly useful. And then later on, you can either give it a ton of extra targets, 3 targets per impact, so it'll end up being 4, or 300% flat damage. We'll cross that Rubicon when we get to it. For now, though, we do just want to build and protect. And locations that have kind of like multi-coverage, we're going to prioritize those in the early game. Always want to upgrade our special command. I like to have the production as opposed to the discovery and the HP, which is pretty good on this character because plasma fences are a thing. But we're not building that way today. So let's, without any further ado, we'll get that last little upgrade here and send the enemies on their way. So we've got detection coverage. We've got some good anti-air. I said, this thing does very little damage early, but it's going to get awesome pretty quick. What are our options here? Love to get a barricade in a Durandal position. Kind of just want the money this particular wave. All right. So here are our charge systems. They can only be built at a height of 0, and they like to all be right next to each other. This position here is awesome for them. They want to be next to each other. They need to be on a height of 0, and at the end of the day, we can put them next to some towers. So we need to keep this in mind as we place future towers. Positions like this are great because they're next to a height of 0 that's kind of useless. And if we put this next to it, we'll give a 25% fire rate increase there. So I'm going to place this down right here, nice and free. We're going to go ahead and get the collective experiment. Awesome. So the rate of fire here just went up by 25%. Also, you know, we need to start building. Right now it has no effect other than the effect we just gave it. Over time, though, it will build up and will be excellent. So for now, let's get the logistics reinforcement. This tower's covering a lot for us. All right, on to the next one. I don't hate getting a little repair. Repair, you look at it and you're like, okay, we're not even damaged. Our HQ doesn't have a lot of HP. If in this particular faction, if our HQ is taking a ton of damage, we're probably losing. But there are upgrades that you can get where you trade damage to your HQ every turn in exchange for resources, something like that. And if you don't have any repair, those particular types of upgrades are completely useless to you. But if you have just this, so right now this doesn't do anything, but in the future it may carry us, surprisingly. So this is exactly what we need here. We also want another straight position out here. And we've just made a huge open position, which is very good defensively, but will also be incredible later. So right now we've got 2 charge systems next to each other. It's showing us that. And then we'll probably save and just get the veteran upgrade there. We need to do, there we go. I was about to say, we need to get a little bit of cash. And the damage we're taking is going to be negligible because we got the repair team. Sweet. We're probably not going to reveal any pits, just in the way that I'm building my level. So we're going to pass on that. This will give me a ton of platforms, and additional discovery will give us extra neutral buildings. But I'll take an early Warwolf. Place that down. And you'll see here all of our upgrades now being cheaper. Pretty sweet. And we'll just look to upgrade our Miradors pretty quickly. The flyers are a bit of a problem. May place our additional Mirador here. Man, so this is very good. Local acquisition. We're probably not making a pit, as I said a second ago, but we're definitely going to be discovering neutral positions. I mean, probably very soon. And this is excellent. This is exactly what we wanted. We close this off. Now we have a 1-in-1 situation going on here. Which means this location, because of its proximity to the headquarters, it's only 1 square away, is going to be much more dangerous. So that being the case, we're going to spend some of our cash there on down a reinforced pivot. And I'm also going to drop down a light mortar here. And with just a little bit of cash, we can increase its range and it'll cover this position for us. Nice. Hopefully this is enough to cover for now. We can afford to take a little bit of damage. That's the beauty of the HQ repairs. And this tower very much sucks until you get, you know, these upgrades here. Man, 400 supply is hard to pass, as is an early scout hideout, considering we have all this recon that we're not using. Also, don't sleep on this upgrade for sturdy bunker efficiency. You may end up with like 6 or 7 sturdy bunkers, and giving them each 10% damage, rate of fire, and reload speed is huge. 400 flat supply is very tempting, however. Believe it or not, I'm going to take the scout hideout. And we're going to place it right, man. This is a good spot too. And as I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I think I do want this here. Because with the cash that we currently possess, we have no neutral buildings, so local supply is not going to be great. But with the cash, and by cash I mean recon, that we currently possess, we have the ability to fully upgrade it and kit it out right now. It sucks to get local supply because we're not getting any benefit from it, whereas the mines would give us an immediate benefit. I think we just hold off a turn to get the compact charges. I think that's okay. This is an excellent spot for an ammo depot. We're going to conserve this spot. And in the future, an ammo depot is one that buffs the damage of adjacent buildings. So something here, something here, something here, something here. And it gives huge damage buffs. So we need to not put a, what are these things called again? Charge system right here, if we're going to plan to do that. And we need to not put anything terrible here. Let's go there. Would be a great location and probably a really good time for us to get the second heavy Vencedor. And there we go. That buys us another probably wave or two in terms of the DPS that thing can put out. Kind of happy to take another scout hideout. Also love a bastion. Yeah, I was going to say, not loving this. So what we could do is just split this evenly, man. Could go like 2 and 2. Something like that. But because we placed our experimental cannon here, and this will become very powerful eventually, I don't want to do that. I think I still want to stick with the game plan of... the game plan is basically to put all of our enemies here. And just very few out here. But this piece is giving me a bit of a conundrum here. I think this is what we want to do. And we do get our first neutral building. And it's a really good one. All buildings 5% damage per battlefront. It's just straight up flat damage. Keep building out there. We're going to take our compact charges, giving us wonderful extra range and slow, more importantly. So all of our 4 weapons have slow now, which is a lot. Here, very decent Warwolf position. We're going to take that, and we're going to prioritize getting this very soon. May even be where we put our next scout hideout. And it would probably be a great idea, too, to just go ahead and upgrade our experimental pulse emitter as it starts getting faster. You can see here it's starting to shoot faster. It just doesn't do that much damage until the shield bros show up. And when they start showing up, that's like, all right, man, it's go time. You got to start upgrading it. I'm going to take the money in a sturdy bunker. I am going to place this bad boy out here. This is also a good kind of secondary location to start building these, because if we go to like wave 50, we're going to need a lot of spaces, right? At ground level 0. So by placing this here, we've increased its fire rate by 25%, in case you don't remember. So that's the idea. It doesn't look like this is giving the same buff, or at least it's not showing. Weird. I wonder if that's working as intended. I hope so. And you know what? This is a pretty good spot for our sturdy bunker. And because of that, I'm actually going to... Let's go ahead and give it a Reaper cannon. Give it a little bit of extra range. And eventually, it's giving me great coverage now, but another block here would be great. And where do we go with this? I mean, this is a wonderful spot. Love it for the slow. The slow is the big money on that. Still covering here. That's great. Probably want to snatch up the veteran reinforcement before I forget. Could use a platform. I'm going to take another scout hideout. Okay. So here's... This is all kind of a big deal now. I could use some of my recon to roll this, but I don't mind. What we've just done is heavily balance the enemies coming from this side as opposed to this side. Which is something we wanted. We wanted to do that. So right now, we can increase the range, damage, and rate of fire. We're going to spend some of that tech we've got left sitting in the bank. Could place this here to buff our sturdy bunker here. And I think that's a pretty nice little play. And then with the remaining cash, you know what? Let's just get shrapnel. This tower is basically useless until you at least get shrapnel. It needs the bonus damage, target, and detection to be useful. Keep an eye out in the top right corner. There's a lot of enemies coming now, though, from this side. Okay. Things went sort of better than expected there. Man, they're giving me some hard choices here. So, I think this is a great doctrine. It's basically, I mean, we're going to put buildings next to all of our buildings. So, it's essentially a flat 5% rate of fire for every building. But production is too good to pass, I think. Okay. Show me what you got. Adjacent buildings gain detection and range. That's fine. This is probably a good time to go ahead and place down a bastion. It's not at 0 level, but we will give it simple design. So it's not getting the 60% reload speed bonus, but if I put it here, if I upgraded this, it would get 10% bonus damage. It's kind of whatever. Any good opportunities to buff towers? Yeah, we could put some here. Something here would be fine. That's going to buff this. 25% rate of fire. Love it. Going to take large squad there instead of placing another scout hideout. Would be good to rush solid foundation. Would also be good. I don't know. We'll have to see how many shielded guys come down the line versus how many invisible guys, camo guys. And then we'll choose what to take. I think the pulse cannon is just the better option generally. It's just very expensive. And we're starting to see shield dudes come out of this cave here. Warder's doing great work. The Warwolf position, that is. Could give it Warden Protocol. Very cheap, very efficient upgrade. Could get some flat buffs. Or let's just get more towers, man. Okay. We've been needing to do this since the game first started, so let's go ahead and plop that down. More HQ repair if we need it. I don't think we quite need it. Place that there. I want to save a 4x4 here in case I get something like another, I guess they're pulse emitters. This is a huge spot for a bastion. I'm going to place this here kind of preemptively. I'm also going to get a mine launcher here. Start dropping those mines down. Give this guy, since he's on a height of 3, give him the 30% bonus damage. And we're getting to the point where we're going to want to prioritize. Wow, 40% supply production. That's huge. Kind of a no hesitation for me, dog. We're going to take that. Start surrounding these. For each adjacent charge system, 5% rate of fire. So this guy has 4. So that would be a 20% bonus to this dude. I wish there was a way to see what his attack speed currently is. That would be interesting. Let's go ahead and get the compact charges. More range, slow. Good stuff. And is there anything we want to rush right now? Yeah, we'll get that. Would be nice to save on the Warwolf until we can get overcharged munitions. 300% damage plus slow. And the big AoE explosion radius that this building does have. Would be better with shrapnel versus cybernetic loader, but if we need to pull the ripcord and get the Warden Protocol, we will. Man, early Rampart missile silo. That could be clutch. And we're just going to keep building down this way. I see no reason not to. And this is an excellent, like, spot to start stacking some of these. And we're going to get the short-range comm link. The sturdy bunkers like to be next to each other. So he's going to get, for each adjacent sturdy bunker, plus 50% damage and rate of fire, right? We're going to put another one here, probably another one here, right? And then we'll probably even put another one of these charge systems here. Buff this guy, buff this guy. This is going to be a very strong position eventually. We're not quite there yet, but it will be. Could go full Reaper cannons. Next turn we'll be able to place another scout hideout, probably here-ish. Want to keep extending the slow. And I always want to make sure I'm not overlooking this spot. That we are covering our bases in every direction. I'm going to take the easy pick here. Start making more surrounds. Love to see a Puma. We could prioritize upgrading that. And upgrading it with our last 2 tech. Giving it huge range. It'll cover like all the way here, all the way here. Make it kind of a bit of a generalist, because I think the predominant enemies here are going to be the shielded dudes. So check out that awesome coverage. We're going to eventually be building that away as well. Maybe a little late for this. Probably not. We'll take that there. Place this here. We'd like to get a corner piece there. Adjacent buildings get extra range and damage. That's beautiful. We're going to eventually place something right here and right here. Not quite yet. Huh. I'm going to go ahead and just get a solid foundation here. Keeping our eyes peeled up top right. Almost no enemies coming from the top right now. We've got so many entry points, 10 entry points, and only one of them is up here. I didn't even see a single enemy spawn. I don't know if we've tipped the balance so far in one direction that it's not even spawning enemies. That's pretty good. Love to get a certified amplifier. These are pretty cool. But I may just want to grab another bastion with some free supply. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to do. Get another mine launcher. Just mines everywhere. Thinking of the mine song from Pocahontas. I was about to burst into song, and I was like, "Don't do that, Britt. Nobody wants to hear you sing." So now is a great opportunity to go for either focused energy or focused energy or explosive energy. There we go. 300% single target damage, good. or tons and tons of AoE damage, I'm going to go for focused energy, because if you go into the super late game, well, you kind of need both. But the hardest enemies are the big single target entities that don't spawn anything. It's the big flyers, the big AT walker looking guys. And this will be better versus them. But look at that attack speed. Beautiful. And slowly but surely, this will become our strongest tower. Give it another 10 turns or so. Grab another Reaper Cannon. Two light mortars and a decent doctrine. I'm going to take the certified amplifier. It's a fun one to play with. Let's extend this out a little bit here. Double the chances to get target, buildings blueprint, and building doctrine. Double the chances. I don't... we could go like this if I want more sturdy bunkers, and I usually do. We'll go ahead and get that guy. Give ourselves a focused pulse cannon as opposed to lowering its building costs. We don't have any huge expensive buildings right now. The Rampart missile silo would be the move on that. We can increase its damage or give ourselves an additional 25% supply amounts offered in reinforcement. Not bad. But for right now, it's mostly useful for the pulse cannon and for the fact that it's going to make more sturdy bunkers appear. And we want more sturdy bunkers. Almost no reason to further upgrade it. This would be fine. This isn't the most... Generally, you want to put this attached to the most powerful building you can. But for the sake of showing you guys, I don't think we've ever had one of these. So we'll just upgrade this dude and show you how it works. And I'll take that sturdy bunker. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and get more compact charges for additional slow. We're slowly creeping out here with our scout hideouts. We're going to place another sturdy bunker here, as we mentioned earlier. This guy is going to get the reinforced pivot. Probably go Reaper Cannon there as well. Build there. That'll boost the strength of our Mirador. Probably want to rush this, the roof-based pulse cannon. Right now, our experimental pulse emitter is going to be nailing the shield enemies pretty much as soon as they spawn. But we need to close this up. This needs a corner piece pretty bad. But it looks like the name of the game is going to be shield destruction for this particular run. We have no assault teams. Man, I love veteran squads, but we just don't have any assault teams. We need the it's like the helipad or whatever it's called. It's a cool tower that I love to get, but we don't have any right now. This is another great position. We're going to get the additional 2 range and 10% damage. That's massive. These are some pretty weak towers to put here, but I don't mind. And then with the 800, like I said, we're going to focus. We're going to get the roof-based pulse cannon. And then probably rush to ammo storage to increase its damage and reload speed by 50%. There's a lot of stuff we want, a lot of stuff we need. May want to get the second heavy Vencedor here for a little more air coverage and a little more like mass coverage, because I think we've got the shield stuff on lock. Let's go ahead and just knock that out. Do we already have this? It's usually one I get pretty early, but no, we don't. Anyway, I'm going to take another sturdy bunker. I think that's a good move. Just keep extending out with all these pits. Another sturdy bunker there. Making this guy super strong. We're going to go ahead and just get solid foundations on everything here. Since nothing's at level 3, we're not going to save up to get the very expensive high ground expertise. And then we're going to place this here, giving each of these an additional 25% fire rate increase. You're going to get a large squad with our recon. Once again, still want to keep an eye out up here. We haven't spawned anything up there in forever. And I kind of like to keep it that way. Let me focus all my firepower down here. Get these cheap upgrades that really increase the damage. Let's grab the buff for the scout. Oh, man, can't say that very quickly. Scout hideout efficiency. We're going to grab the buff for the scout hideout efficiency. Quite the tongue twister. And an additional scout. We always want to have one of these on deck. Start working to close this off. Love to get the bonus recon production. And that's a very good spot. We just don't really have anything at this exact second to place there. But we will in the future. Let's get that ammo storage we talked about earlier. I think that's important. So keep it moving. As soon as I get another mirror door, may even place another scout hideout here. I was going to say, just when I kind of least suspect it, they're going to send some strong stuff this way. Let's get the rooftop snipers. Will be super helpful versus air. And it's cheap. Just a good cheap upgrade. Starting to get close to the time where local supply is going to be good as we slowly build next to more and more neutral positions. Now we've been given a really powerful tower. And it's one that we're going to want to place quickly. And probably put it here. It's also another tower that benefits heavily from being placed next to an ammo depot. There's an upgrade that it has that it wants to be placed next to an ammo depot. So we're going to build here in anticipation of placing this here. And then what else? I didn't like that they just spawned up there. I might want to rush solid foundation. Or you know what? Let's just get veteran reinforcement there. We'll get the solid foundation here, which is great because it'll further amplify the bonuses from the certified amplifier. Because I think we're covering here very well. We've got some decent Claymore defense positions if we want them. And I don't quite want them. Not yet. Okay. Do we extend you out one more, or do we... Yeah, I think we do. And another recon position. Huh. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that and we'll upgrade you. We're going to take this. So we got lots of recon coming in. Decent Claymore position. We'll go ahead and drop that down. The ability to really help us with the shielded guys. It can help us with the air or with the kind of the mass spawns, which we may need help with. And it also has a recon upgrade that increases the range. And we're slowly kind of getting to a point where we don't have much to do with our recon. And we've leaned into its production very heavy. I mean, bonus anti-air would be good as well. But let's go ahead and increase Trajectory Analyzer, increase its range by 2. It'll take us 2 turns to generate that much recon, but I think it's fine. And we'll take another buff there to our sturdy bunkers, who are getting super jacked. And it's definitely worth it for us to go ahead and get their solid foundations done ASAP. This will buff the attack speed of both of these towers. That's a very good thing for us. We still, you know what, we do still have a little bit to spend our recon on. I think I said that a little prematurely. We're going to have to hold off probably on the range increase there. How are you covering? Seems to be soloing up there. Love to see it. And since we've already saved up a little bit of cash, let's go ahead and save up just a little bit more. Drop that down right there. Now we could give it a massive 5 range increase, but if we're hoping to get an ammo depot, it'll give it a flat 70% rate of fire increase on top of the collective experiment increase. It'll make it a beast, but it just won't have great range. Start extending this out. Man, this would be a really good spot here, huh? We're going to sell that. It's worth it. This location's perhaps a little too valuable for an unupgraded mirror door. We're going to place down our retribution position. We're going to upgrade it with barrage protocol right off the bat. Could also give it long burners very quickly, which would give it range and damage per battlefront, of which we have 2. So not the best in terms of battlefronts. Could just save and get the large rack. We don't have an ammo depot, because there could be a point where we just go ahead and pull the trigger and get the guided charge. And yeah, it's time to upgrade these. They're too pivotal to our defense to not have them upgraded. And then let's go ahead and get the large rack there. And then at that point, you just save for forbidden explosives. And there's the ammo depot. Boom. Beautiful. So check this out, guys. And I guess I forgot to place this. My bad. So ammo depots giving adjacent buildings 20% damage and rate of fire. Huge. Right? And then we'll further increase that by another 20%. Very quickly. And we're missing out on some slow here. Alright, bonus increased. Bonus increased, bonus increased. Don't love to see this. They're starting to make it past my defenses here. Could get the shooting floor. Gives us 12 rifles in this particular range. And we'll do that. Man, buildings adjacent to a neutral building gain 50% damage. That's just a free good upgrade. But I want to see as many sturdy bunkers as possible with the upgrades that we currently have on it. Let's go ahead and lock this down. Let's also place this here for a huge damage buff to both of these very strong towers that we have. And you know what? I'm just going to get the trajectory analyzer instead of getting the upgrades for these 2 scout towers. I'm not mad at that. Now, we've already fully upgraded this, so we can't take advantage of the short-range comlink by building multiple, you know, sturdy bunkers next to each other, but we can get some benefit from it. And we also could just build next to these neutral positions. So a little bit of HQ repair, not terrible. Although things will start hitting us so hard that it won't matter. Build here, and then, you know, once again, we don't have local supply unlocked, so we're not really getting the benefit from that, but it's something that we would take into consideration later. Right now, what we need to upgrade is a solid frame. Since we fully upgraded the ammo depot, now it's time to get the additional 70% rate of fire increase. Anything that comes past this point is going to get nuked by the super heavy pulse defense. Our experimental cannon seems to be killing it, though. Shattering Charge is an excellent upgrade. Okay, okay. A little extra recon we could use in another Wolf position. We don't really have a ton of those. Could place it here to get the benefit from one of these charge systems, and I think we will do that. And it's a nice position. It covers this huge area. And with just a little bit of a cash investment, we make it a really strong tower. Love it. Looking at a lot of options right now, man. Could just keep buffing here. Kind of the easy play, right? Just got to make sure we're covered, man. Up top, I would hate to lose because we just slightly undervalued our strength here, our vulnerability there. That would suck. What else? What else? What else? Because we've got a little bit of extra cash. We could just drop down another sturdy bunker. But if we're going to do that, I want to look for a position where we could build a ton of sturdy bunkers. Something like here, here, here. Perhaps. Or we just throw down something like this. What do you give it? Protection and range, huh? That's not that relevant. We'll hold. Our retribution position is killing it. Get a little mortar going. Gotta put it somewhere. Ooh, love to see a division relay. Another shield destroyer is basically what it is. Okay, some bonus to discovery here. Would like to put something there. But you know what? We're in a position right now where I've got a bit of extra cash. So we kind of accidentally saved up for a Rampart missile silo, which requires a lot of flat ground. And we've got some. So we'll go ahead and place this here. Place that there, and now we can make use of these two positions and get some bonuses to their fire rate. But what this is going to do is it's going to hit things as soon as they spawn. Keep an eye out up here. Hate the guys that drop like meteors and are just kind of strong. Definitely threatening me back there. And we're going to upgrade. We're going to get these pulse cannons right away. With this bonus here. Very good. And then it's going to also have the automated analyzers, which is going to buff the damage and rate of fire of anything we place here, here, or here. Place an antenna relay, which is going to increase our supply production every wave. Man, do we take another ammo depot, which is good pretty much everywhere, or another super heavy pulse defense? I think you take one of those. So we're going to shift the balance back this way a little bit more. We started to spawn stuff over here. Okay. We still have a spot down here for potentially a strong tower. What are we going to do with 500 bucks? That's not bad. Not bad. Just put some cheap stuff here to get the benefit right away. Upgrade those very quickly. Once again, getting the 25% bonus to their rate of fire, which is great. And we could treat the Miradors to something like the long barrels, make them much more efficient. But for right now, I just want to quickly spend my cash on these and move on to more important towers. Getting the buffs from automated analyzers. They're getting a lot of buffs. Probably get the Reaper cannon here. I don't have a lot of platforms. This is huge. Our supply just went up. Our supply production just went up massively. And while we're nearing the end of our run here. Man, even more supply production, huh? I don't have a lot of cheap towers that I can generate. I'm not able to get this discovery. I'm not able to get this supply production. I just placed down my last two kind of cheap towers. We'll buff those two. Although this one's already buffed, so it's just buffing this. Yeah, man, I need more blueprints. I think I've taken very efficient stuff to win. But maybe not the most efficient stuff to go into the super late game. So I'm hoping, you know, we should survive this wave. I always find wave 32 to be the hardest wave. After that, it actually kind of feels like it gets a little bit easier. How are you doing on the leaderboards? Okay. Not bad. This would be the tower to save and upgrade, though. Experimental cannon starting to take over a little bit. We'll take that. Man, I need one platform. This would be a beautiful spot for a super heavy pulse defense. But this is also a beautiful spot. Any other potential beautiful spots? Anything that gives me a spot to put an ammo depot would be clutch. I'm not seeing any great ammo depot spots. This would have been an awesome ammo depot spot, but I'm not mad with what we've already created there. And if I place this here, I can place this guy here and buff it right away. And without an ammo depot, I'm just going to give it massive range. And that's pretty much all of our cash. This is what we've got to win with, guys. Let's zoom out a little bit here, see what's spawning up top. I wouldn't be surprised if the game kind of tries to screw us. And it looks like it kind of is. These are very strong dudes that spawned up top, and I don't know if we have the answer for them. Because these guys are going to hit us very hard. And they did, but we survived. Wow. I think the mines are what cinched it for us at the edge there. Do we have enough? Going forward, I would definitely buy this upgrade to shield destruction. But that's going to be it. I'm trying to see how much time. I could play another like 10 minutes. I don't know how much longer we're going to last. I've got to head to the gym in a little bit here. Finally get some of those. I am so sore, man. I've been training very hard at the old jiu-jitsu gym. And I was getting beat up yesterday a little bit. Having a good time, but still definitely getting beat up. Take the discovery there. Man, we need so much. Pulse cannon. And then rush the ammo storage. I didn't like how much they spawned up there last wave. That very nearly killed us. If our HQ didn't have as much HP as it currently does, we would have just died. So let's go ahead and just reinforce here. Ooh, that's not a 1, huh? We got a buff. Even if it's just cheap. Because these guys, it looks like they're coming, you know, they're coming from super far away, they're living a long time, but this is a huge kill box right here. Ooh, a permanent 80 supply production at the cost of us being very weak next wave. Let's see if we can survive that. That's probably worth it if we can survive it. Get more shield destruction over there. We'll just take the easy spot there. And then we would want to get more ammo storage here, probably. Or, you know what? Shooting floor is pretty good. Everything has to run past. Except things that just drop down and spawn behind us. That's true. We have so much recon, we just can't spin. That feels bad, man. If that's the case, let's go ahead and get this and upgrade its range. Even more range, and then thankfully some detection. So this is a pretty great spot, actually, all things considered, for a Claymore. Ooh, and now we're starting to get some of the big guns. Would love to get a sanctioned cannon, but retribution positions, those are great too. As are the salamander positions. They're very weird towers. They're kind of like selfish. They take all the damage for themselves by reducing damage for all the towers around them. This wouldn't be a horrible position. At the very least, you'd be getting all the buffs from these two. So I'm just going to drop that there. I don't love it, but it isn't bad. And we'll just give it for very cheap. Some very cheap upgrades there. And probably forget about it now. Kind of the part of the game where you really want to start saving for some of these much more expensive upgrades. This was like our backup position to start placing more of these. Could also put this here to buff our newly christened Claymore defense. Don't hate that. But yeah, I mean, it's time to start saving and getting these huge upgrades. I say that, but I'm like, this is too juicy of a spot. Let's go ahead and place this here. Get barrage protocol. Get a large rack. And once again, also benefiting from collective experiment. Very good, very good. And our kind of our secret weapons back here aren't even really being used that much. Our buddy here would love to be placed next to something that it could buff. But we don't really have any good spots for that. Looks like on really either side of the map here. This was sort of a perfect position for it. Yeah, I don't see anything for this tower just yet. We'll take that. So many expensive upgrades. Kind of plotting on where we could put an ammo depot. Would love to buff this guy, this one, this one. They're not ideal positions, but if we had to, I would place them anyway. Let's get high capacity. We're going to target all the entry points now. Plasma fences are great. We've got a nice choke point here and here. Extend out just a little bit more in a that-early direction. Huh. Got a couple bastions to place. Yeah, you are not yet fully upgraded. Let's upgrade you. And we'll start building here since we don't really know where to build. We just need to make sure they connect so we can keep getting these buffs. We're at 26 stacks on the charge systems. Could be at way more, but I think the way we're playing this is actually good. Kind of spreading the buffs around a little bit. Ooh, is this where we die? Defensive network. Oh, I died up top. Ah, well. Damn it. Okay. I didn't see how I died. They snuck me with something. But what a fun run. You can see here what did the most work. And it's not just what's really good. Obviously, we had a lot of buffs for our sturdy bunkers. And placement, right? The experimental pulse emitter was set really far back to defend us, but we just didn't have enough up top. So, without any further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brett, channel's Good Talk Gaming, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you've been enjoying this series. There'll be plenty more to come. And it was a win. Victory +4. We'll take it. See you later, guys.